At the beginning of the film, we see an old wooden box with something moving inside it. A woman is clearly terrified. She tries to ignore it and starts combing her hair, but suddenly her hair begins falling out into her hands. Realizing something is wrong, she suspects the box is behind it, so she decides to destroy it. As she approaches the box with a hammer, strange noises start coming from inside, and it feels like the box has taken control of her. Her vision begins to blur. Out of nowhere, her legs lift off the ground as if some invisible force is pulling her up. Then, she's violently thrown back down, hitting the floor hard and losing consciousness. Meanwhile, her young son keeps knocking on the door from outside. Hearing the disturbing noises, he breaks the window and rushes inside, only to find his mother badly injured. The scene then cuts to a man named Clyde, who reveals that he is separated from his wife. They no longer live together and are in the middle of a divorce. Because of this, their two daughters mostly stay with their mother and only spend weekends with Clyde. One day, during his time off, Clyde takes his daughters out for a drive. On the way, they come across a house having a yard sale. Coincidentally, it belongs to the same old woman, and among the items being sold is that same cursed wooden box. For some unknown reason, his daughter Emily feels strangely drawn to it. She insists that her father buy it. Just as they're about to leave, they notice the old woman, wrapped in bandages, screaming at them with all her strength, desperately trying to stop them from taking the box. Emily doesn't understand what's happening, but the woman's terrifying screams scare her enough to quickly run back to the car. When they get home, Emily tries to open the box, but it won't budge. Clyde tries as well, but no matter what they do, it refuses to open. Eventually, they leave it in her room and go to sleep. But in the middle of the night, Emily suddenly wakes up to a strange noise coming from inside the box. As soon as she looks at it, the box slowly opens on its own. Curious and uneasy, Emily walks over and looks inside. Inside, she finds several bizarre objects: a strange old ring, a dead moth, a human tooth, and a weird wooden artifact. Emily puts on the ring and then quietly goes back to sleep. From that moment on, we start noticing major changes in her behavior. Emily stops laughing, stops talking, and loses interest in everything she once loved. She becomes silent, distant, and deeply sad. But Clyde and her sister don't think much of it. They assume she's just feeling unwell. That same night, Emily wakes up again, drawn by strange sounds coming from the box. We don't see what she does with it just yet, but the next morning, when Clyde comes to wake her up, he finds her sitting right in front of the box. As he looks through the mirror inside it, the truth becomes terrifyingly clear. Emily is possessed. A dark, evil force has taken over her, which is why her reflection shows those horrifying, unnatural eyes. But the moment she turns to face Clyde, her eyes return to normal. Later during breakfast, Emily begins eating like a wild animal. When Clyde tries to calm her down, she suddenly stabs his hand with a fork. Both he and her sister are left in complete shock. But just seconds later, Emily snaps out of it. Seeing her father's bleeding hand, she breaks down in tears. This moment makes one thing clear. Emily wasn't in control. The evil spirit inside her forced her to do it. Confused and terrified, she has no idea what's happening to her. Yet despite all this, her family still fails to understand the truth and continues to ignore her disturbing behavior. Another night passes. The next morning, while her sister is brushing her teeth, hundreds of moths suddenly swarm the room. Terrified, she calls out for her dad. Clyde rushes in and realizes that the insects are coming from Emily's room. When he opens the door, he's horrified by what he sees. Emily is sitting on her bed, holding the box, completely surrounded by thousands of moths. And the most disturbing part, she isn't afraid at all. He calls her name, but she's in a trance, completely unresponsive. With no other option, Clyde picks her up and carries her out of the room. He immediately calls in pest control to deal with the infestation and sends both of his daughters to stay at their mother's house. While staying there, Emily calls her father and says something chilling. "Take care of my box and don't open it." Hearing this, Clyde realizes something is seriously wrong. Driven by fear and curiosity, he decides to take a closer look at the box to uncover what's really causing Emily's terrifying transformation. When he opens it, he finds the same strange items Emily discovered earlier. That night, Emily suddenly becomes very sick. As she rushes to the bathroom to throw up, she feels something alive inside her throat, like it's trying to crawl out of her body. Terrified, she looks into the mirror, slowly opens her mouth and sees two fingers pushing up from inside her throat. The horrifying sight leaves her completely shaken. After a few days, Emily gets the box back, and now she refuses to let it out of her sight. She carries it with her everywhere. One day at school, a boy tries to snatch her backpack to steal the box, but Emily snaps. She attacks him brutally, beating him so badly that he's seriously injured. The school calls her parents immediately. Her teacher assumes Emily's behavior is caused by her parents' divorce, thinking it's making her aggressive and unstable. But this time, Emily has gone way too far. The teacher confiscates the box and locks it in her office. That very night, something terrifying happens. The teacher feels an unnatural pull toward the box. She tries to open it, but it won't budge. Suddenly, her eyes change, just like the old woman's at the beginning of the movie. Her body begins to twist in unnatural, painful ways. Then, she starts floating toward the ceiling. An invisible force drags her through the air and violently hurls her out the window. Unlike the old woman, she doesn't survive. She dies instantly from the fall. The shocking news of her death spreads fear throughout the entire school. The next day, the school is shut down. But Emily shows no sadness at all. In a cold, creepy voice, she tells her dad, "I want that box back right now, and you're going to get it for me." Frustrated, Clyde asks, "What's so special about that box?" Emily replies chillingly, "There's a friend inside, and it only talks to me." Hearing this, Clyde becomes deeply disturbed. He decides to get rid of the box once and for all. He goes to the school, retrieves it, but instead of bringing it home, he throws it deep into the woods. But the moment he returns home, Emily is furious. It's as if she somehow knows what he's done. While they argue, something unseen suddenly slaps her hard across the face. No one is there, yet she was clearly struck. Her sister rushes in, sees Clyde standing in front of Emily, and assumes he hit her. Terrified and overwhelmed, Emily runs out of the house. The way she runs, wild, unnatural, makes it clear that something is controlling her. She heads straight into the woods, searching for the box as the spirit inside begins whispering to her in a strange, unknown language. Surprisingly, Emily responds in the same language. Right after that, we see a massive swarm of moths pouring out of her mouth, and then she suddenly collapses. Clyde rushes into the woods to look for Emily. When he finds her lying on the ground, he quickly picks her up and carries her back home. But the moment he arrives, the police are already there. His older daughter had called her mother and told her that Clyde was hurting Emily. That's why the mother showed up with the police. Because of this, a judge rules that Clyde is no longer allowed to see his kids. He can't even visit them, leaving him completely broken and hopeless. Deep down, he knows all of this is happening because of the box. Determined to uncover the truth, Clyde takes the box to a college professor who specializes in history and also has deep knowledge of spiritual matters. After examining it, the professor explains that it's a Dybbuk box with Hebrew writing on it. Clyde asks what a Dybbuk is. The professor tells him that a Dybbuk is an evil spirit. The people who created the box must have trapped through a special ritual. He explains that they used powerful magic to seal the dark spirit inside, preventing it from harming anyone ever again. Hearing this, Clyde finally understands the horrifying truth. His daughter is being attacked by an evil entity, and the demon has completely taken over her body. Desperate, he returns home and starts reading books about how to get rid of spirits. One night, he grabs a Bible and attempts to perform an exorcism on Emily. As he begins reading from it, Emily suddenly wakes up and stares at him with a terrifying expression. Clyde is so frightened that he drops the Bible. In that moment, he realizes he can't fight this demon alone. The next day, he travels to New York to meet a Jewish rabbi. Rabbis are religious leaders, similar to priests. When a young Jewish man sees the box, he becomes visibly scared and quickly takes Clyde to an older rabbi. But the older men refuse to go anywhere near the box. Instead, they step back, clearly terrified of it. They ask Clyde where he got it. Clyde explains that he bought it at a yard sale, and ever since then, his daughter has been extremely sick. After hearing his story, the rabbi reveals something terrifying. The demon inside the box needed an innocent soul, and it found one in Clyde's daughter. He explains that the only way to save her is to discover the demon's true name and force it back into the box. But the problem is, Clyde knows nothing about the spirit. So how could he ever figure out its name? Clyde desperately begs the rabbis for help, but the elder rabbis refuse. They believe performing an exorcism is far too dangerous. Heartbroken, Clyde walks out of the building. But just then, the young rabbi from earlier follows him. Feeling sympathy for Clyde, he makes a bold decision. He promises to help perform the exorcism and save Emily, even if it costs him his life. Meanwhile, at her mother's house, Emily's behavior becomes completely unhinged. She used to be a vegetarian, but now, under the demon's control, she starts devouring raw meat straight from the fridge like a wild animal. When her mother sees this, she's absolutely horrified. And when she tries to stop her, Emily suddenly attacks her. Thankfully, her mother manages to escape unharmed. Soon after, the mother's friend arrives, and she tells him everything that's been happening. But instead of believing her, he says Emily might be mentally ill and suggests sending her to a psychiatric hospital. Unfortunately, Emily overhears the conversation, and the demon inside her becomes furious. The next day, when her friend tries to talk to Emily, she just stares at him with a terrifying evil look. Her face is pale and lifeless, with dark, sunken circles under her eyes. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The wind begins to blow violently. Out of nowhere, the friend is slammed against the wall, and in a horrifying moment, his teeth start breaking and falling out, his mouth filling with blood. Emily's mother watches in pure terror as Emily suddenly collapses to the floor. When she rushes to her side, she's horrified to see Emily convulsing, blood pouring from her mouth. Panicked, the mother immediately calls an ambulance and rushes Emily to the hospital. The scene cuts back to Clyde and the rabbi. They finally manage to open the box and break a hidden piece of glass inside it, revealing the demon's true name written within. Now that they know its name, they finally have the power to cast it out. Clyde quickly rushes the rabbi to the hospital, where Emily is recovering. After seeing her condition, the rabbi warns everyone that they must perform the exorcism immediately because the demon is trying to claim her soul. If they wait any longer, Emily will die. Even though Emily's mother never believed in demons before, she desperately begs them to start the exorcism after seeing a horrifying demonic face inside Emily's chest during an MRI scan. Clyde and the rabbi secretly move Emily into an empty physical therapy room. As the rabbi begins chanting prayers, the exorcism starts, and Emily instantly begins screaming in unbearable pain. The rabbi places the open box beside her. As the prayers grow louder, Emily's condition gets worse. The lights start flickering violently, and the demon fully takes control of her body. With terrifying, unnatural strength, Emily attacks everyone in the room before suddenly running away toward the hospital basement, straight into the morgue. When Clyde chases her into the dark morgue, Emily immediately turns on him. She brutally attacks him and throws him across the room like he's nothing. But then, something even more horrifying happens. The demon suddenly leaves Emily's body and enters Clyde instead. This happens because Clyde kept shouting at the demon, "Leave my daughter alone. Take me instead." Now possessed, Clyde calmly walks Emily back upstairs, and her mother is overwhelmed with relief to see her completely normal again. The parents think the nightmare is finally over, but the rabbi knows the truth. The evil spirit hasn't been destroyed. It has only changed its host. Without wasting a second, the rabbi continues the exorcism, this time on Clyde. He shouts the demon's name, Abazu, commanding it to return to the wooden box. As he repeatedly chants the name, Clyde suddenly collapses to the ground. And then, in a horrifying moment, a demonic hand slowly crawls out of Clyde's mouth, terrifying everyone in the room. Moments later, the entire evil spirit begins pulling itself out of his throat. Under the rabbi's powerful command, the demon is finally dragged back into the box, which slams shut on its own, sealing the evil inside forever. The exorcism is finally successful. At last, the entire family is safe, all thanks to the brave rabbi. Grateful for their lives, they thank him and return home. In the final scene, we see Clyde, his wife, and their 2 daughters sitting together, sharing a peaceful meal. For the first time in a long while, the family is truly happy. Earlier, Clyde and his wife were on the verge of divorce, but after surviving this horrifying nightmare together, they choose to stay and rebuild their relationship, bringing their family back together. But the story doesn't end on a happy note. Before the credits roll, we see the rabbi driving away, taking the Dybbuk box to hide it somewhere safe. But as he drives down a dark, lonely road, a massive truck suddenly crashes into his car. It's a devastating accident, and the rabbi dies instantly. The impact throws the wooden box onto the road, but it remains completely intact. And now the real question is, who will find the box next? And whose life will it destroy? With this, the movie ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.